A group of people who have been deceived to the point of deceiving themselves are now jubilantly celebrating their successful entry into the industry. Judging by their enthusiasm, it's clear that the master on stage, Yao Chengwei, has them fully under his spell. Yao repeatedly boasts of being a planning master, claiming he can make anyone submit to him in 5 minutes, turn stone into gold, and even bring the dead back to life. There are many planning companies in China, but no one can make a company profitable faster than I can. I was born with this ability. Sister Shu's mother, who is over 90, hadn't eaten for 15 days and was on the brink of death. I told her to hang my energy painting at home, and miraculously she came back to life. As absurd as these claims sound, there are still people willing to believe him. Right there at the event, someone handed over 80,000 yuan and knelt down to become his disciple. Yao further boasts that he became a millionaire at 21, earned 25 million yuan in a single year by the age of 25, and that the companies he invested in reached a market value of over 5 billion yuan within 3 years, with over 1.6 billion yuan in financing. If such explosive success were real, China would be overflowing with billionaires by now. Would someone like him really need to travel around giving lectures to make money? In the end, the police arrived and took away the brainwashed attendees, who even questioned the officers about why they were there. Next, let's take a look at the team-building events in some Chinese companies, which resemble the live PUA, pickup artist training camps. As soon as the leader appears, the crowd erupts, dancing wildly and shouting until their voices break, seemingly ready to kneel and lick the leader's shoes. In this frenzied atmosphere, anyone who dares not to join is risked of being labeled antisocial or negative and faces exclusion. Over time, these employees become completely brainwashed, convinced their leader is brilliant, even if that same leader has no clue how to run a company and whose financial stability is on the verge of collapse. Now let's turn to something even more down to earth: pyramid schemes. Recently, a viral video showed a pyramid scheme promoting beverages with thousands of people enthusiastically participating.
Do you want a drink?
The crowd responds yes.
Will you pay for it?
The crowd shouts yes.
Are you willing to spend money?
Yes. The host then leads the chant, and the crowd echoes every word. The host on stage is nothing more than the ringleader of a scam, tricking the audience into joining a pyramid scheme for a beverage brand. The poor crowd, driven by false hope, willingly hands over their money. This performance closely mirrors the practices of certain Western pyramid schemes, such as Amway in the past. The booming market for health products is practically heaven for scammers. From oral liquids to massage mats, energy paintings to miracle ointments, the range of products is endless. Many elderly people in pursuit of better health are led by the nose by these fraudsters, ultimately losing both their money and their health. And these scammers often play their victims' desires, offering free things or laundry detergent to appear kind-hearted. They lure people into so-called health lectures. Once the audience believes the products can cure cancer, prevent diseases, and promote longevity, the scammers celebrate their success. If we don't scam you, who else are we going to scam? We give you fools free things, and now you're here for the lecture. Look at you, lying on those massage mats, and we're emptying your pockets. Though harsh, the words expose a brutal reality.
This elderly woman in Shanghai spent 600,000 yuan on health products. She exhausted her savings and even considered selling her house to buy more, ignoring her family's pleas. She attended every online and offline event, spending around 20,000 yuan on a mattress that supposedly improved her back and sleep. Now she's hospitalized.
What's even more outrageous is that while the Chinese government officially claims to crack down on the health products market, there isn't much enforcement, leaving vulnerable groups unprotected. Some scammers even claim their products have state support or central approval, leaving the elderly defenseless. And this isn't just about money. Some scams don't even spare food. Remember the fear of gutter oil in China years ago? Scammers exploited this by introducing freshly pressed peanut oil. This is a stall supposedly pressing peanut oil on the spot. Hidden inside the oil press is a compartment filled with low-quality oil, which is fed through a pipe to the outlet. When customers arrive, the vendor pretends to add a small amount of peanuts to the machine. The machine spins, but the oil that emerges is mostly pre-prepared substandard oil mixed with a trace of peanut oil. Normally, producing half kilo of peanut oil requires over 1 kilogram of peanuts, but these scammers may use a quarter of a kilogram or less, diluting the rest with inferior oil. People pay high prices for this oil, only to find that heating it fills their homes with a nauseating smell, unaware of the chemical residues lurking within.
I smell something really strong. No idea what kind of oil it was, but it stank. Seriously, the smell was awful. I had no clue what they put in there. I looked it up online and people said it had artificial flavoring. I thought, can this even be edible? I was so angry. The smell was like gasoline or something. It was disgusting.
The so-called traditional soy sauce is nothing more than a deception. Large ceramic jars are promptly displayed, labeled with the words traditional soy sauce. Yet the contents are nothing but quickly blended sauce, far removed from the authentic fermentation process. Why are they bold enough to sell this? Because they know most consumers only look at the packaging and branding, without investigating how the product is made or fermented. With enough promotion, they can make significant profits. If street scams seem like petty crimes, then the scams at trade shows are even more deceptive. At an exhibition in Hangzhou, a customer was drawn to some Chinese herbal medicine, supposedly ground into powder on site. However, after spending 20,000 yuan, he later discovered that the powder he received was not freshly ground, but pre-prepared fake herbal powder taken from beneath the vendor's booth. When the victim realized the scam and tried to report it to security or the police, no one was willing to investigate immediately, citing the need to check surveillance footage and follow procedures. During this delay, the scammers continued their activity without consequence, even sending accomplices to intimidate the victim into silence. This level of arrogance highlights the empty promises of consumer protection by the Chinese authorities. A recent viral video on social media further exposed the extent of such scams. A Russian vlogger in China revealed the fraud at a so-called Russian goods store in Shanghai. Despite marketing itself as an authentic importer of Russian products, the store was filled with counterfeit Chinese goods.
Today I'll show you how Chinese people scam each other. This product doesn't exist in Russia. I've never seen this in Russia.
A vlogger meticulously pointed out the discrepancies in the products, while store employees attempted to block the filming. In closing, she warned viewers,
Do not come here thinking this is a Russian store.
when discussing fraud, telecom scams cannot be overlooked. This has become a specialty in China, with a wide range of deceptive tactics that surpass global standards. Scammers impersonate couriers, police officers, government officials, bank representatives, and company executives. If the profession exists, there is a scammer impersonating it. According to China's Ministry of Public Security, more than 920,000 telecom fraud cases were filed nationwide in 2020, resulting in economic losses of over 35 billion yuan. Despite these figures, fraudulent text messages continue to flood people's phones. Over the past few days, I received multiple texts about package deliveries. The problem is, I haven't ordered anything recently, so where are these messages coming from? I knew it was a scam. This raises the question, are the authorities' crackdowns genuine or merely performative? While some officials abuse their power for personal gain, even legitimate enforcement actions can unjustly penalize innocent victims by freezing their bank accounts under the guise of protection.
My father needed medical treatment for early stage vascular blockage. When we tried to withdraw money from the bank, the staff told us his account had been frozen by the police. They said they couldn't unfreeze it without police authorization.
The one-size-fits-all enforcement approach punishes the innocent alongside the guilty. Why do scammers operate so brazenly in China, while ordinary citizens repeatedly fall victim to fraud? The deeper societal issues stem from the Chinese Communist Party's governance model. At the forefront is the CCP's long-standing emphasis on ideological indoctrination. In this system, political correctness overrides all else, with maintaining regime stability as the top priority. Moral education takes a backseat to political messaging, instilling slogans like "follow the party" from a young age, while critical thinking and independent judgment are marginalized or suppressed. The consequences of this education model is the emergence of generations blindly obeying authority. Their ability to discern information is generally weak, and even basic life knowledge can be skewed, as one video bluntly points out.
Why do you keep getting scammed and making poor investments? Because your understanding is flawed and your logic is off. If scammers don't target you, who else would they target? Who told you red egg yolks taste better? Because you believe it. They add Sudan red to egg yolks. Who told you milk must be thick? Visit a dairy plant and see for yourself. It's your ignorance that gives scammers opportunities.
While the message is harsh, it strikes at the heart of the issue. For decades, the CCP has prioritized political propaganda over genuine civic education, leaving people's minds filled with misconceptions rather than independent thought. Naturally, this makes them more susceptible to deception. Additionally, human nature plays into the hands of scammers. The desire for success and a better life is natural, but in China's distorted social environment, this desire often morphs into vanity and impatience. Many people reject hard work and reality, opting instead to chase shortcuts and superficial gains. A viral video humorously reflects this.
Men like beautiful women. What if a woman isn't beautiful? Plastic surgery. Women like capable men. What if a man lacks capability? Then you lie. Eventually, you have surgically enhanced women facing off with men full of lies. It's a perfect match.
Though satirical, this accurately reflects the societal reality. From politicians to ordinary citizens, deception permeates every level of society. In many ways, plastic surgery and lies share the same deceptive essence as fraudulent schemes, contributing to a culture where truth is constantly blurred. The environment fostered under CCP rule serves as fertile ground for deception, from political propaganda to economic data and academic research. Falsehoods and exaggerations are rife. Over time, societal moral standards erode, and the integrity system collapses, perpetrating a vicious cycle. Under the governance of the Chinese Communist Party, a political environment where rule by man supersedes the rule of law has created fertile ground for fraud to thrive. Laws and regulations are poorly enforced, regulatory agencies are ineffective, and in some cases even collude with fraudsters. This has led to a vicious cycle where bad actors drive out good ones. One glaring example is the infamous Sanlu milk powder scandal, which shocked both China and the world. Countless innocent children fell victim to kidney stones, with families left shattered. The root of this major public safety incident lay not only in the unscrupulous behavior of the involved companies, but also in severe government regulatory failures and systemic corruption. The outcome? Many of the company executives responsible received only symbolic punishments, later re-emerging in new ventures. Meanwhile, the pain and grievances of affected children and families were largely ignored. The recent wave of collapses in peer-to-peer P2P leading platforms has taken this pattern of government-business collusion to new extremes. Many ordinary people lost their life savings, lured by promises of high returns and low risks, only to see their money vanish. Infamous Ponzi schemes like Eizobao and Qianbao flourished under the tactic approval, and in some cases active support of local governments. When these schemes inevitably collapsed, countless investors were left penniless, while the real perpetrators, those in cahoots with powerful interests, often escaped unscathed, ready to orchestrate the next scam. One Chinese scholar pinpointing the core issue and said, in China the biggest problem isn't too many bad people, but a system that enables and protects them. Unchecked power and laws exacerbate social inequality, with disparities in wealth, education, and healthcare becoming even more pronounced. World Bank data shows that China's Gini coefficient has remained high. reflecting alarming income inequality. These disparities extend beyond income, manifesting starkly in unequal access to education and healthcare resources. A rural college student once lamented, "We work so hard just to barely stand on the same starting line as city kids, but that starting line is already tilted." This sentiment echoes the frustration of countless rural and underprivileged citizens. In China, top quality educational resources are concentrated into a few major cities and elite schools, leaving children in rural and remote areas with limited opportunities. This educational injustice not only entrenches social class structure, but also extinguishes hope for many, making them more susceptible to scams promising quick wealth. A retired worker's compliment exposes the flaws in China's healthcare system. He said, "Our generation contributed to the country when we were young, thinking we could enjoy some peace in old age. Who knew we couldn't even afford to get sick? Those so-called experts selling health products are worse than counterfeit drug peddlers. An inadequate health insurance system, unequal distribution of medical resources, and rampant corruption have made difficult and expensive access to healthcare. Another heavy burden on ordinary people. Scammers exploit this yearning for health, disguising themselves under the banners of wellness and longevity, and selling counterfeit and substandard products at exacerbated prices." You haven't been scammed yet because you're smart, but because scammers haven't found the right scam for you, goes a piece of dark humor widely circulated in Chinese society. Renowned writer Yan Lianke once remarked, "In China, lies are not just a moral issue, they are a survival strategy." In a society plagued by insecurity and fear, telling the truth has become increasingly costly, while lies often yield tangible benefits. Behind all this lies the CCP's comprehensive control and information suppression. The authorities fear the truth, fearing public awakening, and above all, fear losing their grip on power. To maintain control, they employ every means to manipulate public opinion, suppress dissident, and block information, quashing potential instability before it gains momentum. However, this authoritarian approach only achieves superficial stability, further deepening societal contradictions and driving public disillusionment. It pushes society into the tactitious trap, where no matter what the government says or does, people no longer believe it. All these issues, in turn, create fertile ground for fraud, plaguing Chinese society into a vicious cycle of mutual harm.